The absolute horror of the elementary school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, 2 weeks ago got very real today on Capitol Hill. As this morning's House hearings on gun violence, lawmakers heard Uvalde fourth grader, Mia Cerrillo, bravely describe how she survived the shooting that killed 19 of her classmates and 2 teachers.
There's a door between our classrooms, and he went through there and shot my teacher and told my teacher goodnight and shot her in the head. And then he shot some of my classmates and the whiteboard. When I went to the barracks, he shot my friend that was next to me, and I thought he was going to come back to the room, so I grabbed the blood and I put it all over me.
If there was something that you want people to know about that day and about you, right? Or things that you want different, what would it be?
To have security.
Do you feel safe at school? Why not?
Because I don't want it to happen again.
And you think it's going to happen again?
Extraordinary. Committee members also heard from Uvalde pediatrician Dr. Roy Guerrero. And I warn you, as hard as it was to hear from Mia, what you're going to hear from the doctor is even tougher.
But what I did find was something no prayer will ever relieve. 2 children whose bodies had been pulverized by bullets fired at them, decapitated, whose flesh had been ripped apart, that the only clue as their identities was a blood-splattered cartoon clothes still clinging to them, clinging for life and finding none. I could only hope these 2 bodies were a tragic exception to the list of survivors. But as I waited there with my fellow Uvalde doctors, nurses, first responders, and hospital staff for other casualties we hope to save, they never arrived.
Not long after today's hearing, the House passed a package on gun safety bills. It includes a measure that raises the minimum age to buy semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21. But here's the plan. It's going nowhere. It will stall in the Senate. Separately, the plan the Senate is working on, well, that has a problem, too. It appears to have hit a snag. NBC News reporting there's a sticking point with background checks. So what does that mean tonight? We are no safer on gun safety than we were 2 weeks ago when that massacre took place. With that, let's bring in Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez. His district includes Uvalde. Here we are again. It has been 2 weeks since that tragedy happened. What is the state of daily life for people in Uvalde?
Well, Stephanie, I mean, to say that people are stuck is putting it lightly. I mean, it's just, it's tragic. Families are shattered. I saw Miss Rubio today in Congress, and how strong she was, and how strong her husband was. I'm just so impressed with how they're able to cope. But not Miss Rubio or anybody else. No one sought to be an advocate in this space. They just want their children back more than anything else. It's just tragedy what's going on in the community, and all we can do is just be here for them, and that's what I'm trying to do.
John Cornyn is negotiating in the Senate on a possible gun laws package. He's obviously negotiating on behalf of Republicans. You think anything's going to get done here?
Well, look, I'm concerned about a lot of things. I mean, we've been hearing a lot about red flags. The fact is, the NRA knows that if they pass a red flag law in Congress, that they're going to go fight it in the court system. The best thing that we can do is raise the age limit. This is about money. It's about gun manufacturers making more and more money. And they know that if they raise the age limit, it's not constitutionally challengeable. And so they're going to make less money. And so they want to see red flags because they know what they're going to do. I'm very disappointed right now in what's happening in the Senate.
Yes.
They find every little thing to just break this thing down.
Sir, we know what should happen, but I want to get realistic. Let's say something doesn't get done in Congress. Texas, which has only broadened what you can do around guns over the last few years, given the impact Uvalde has had on the community and on the state, you think anything's going to get done on a state level?
Well, I would ask Greg Abbott to You probably not, no. And that's the sad part about all this. I would ask Greg Abbott to look at his friend Ron DeSantis and look at what he did after Parkland. What he did was he raised the age limit from 18 to 21. It's the right thing to do. Republican constituents are asking for it. I mean, we need a governor that has the fortitude to call us back in a special session and do the right thing on the age limit. And at least give us that common sense solution. But he refuses. He refuses because he's stuck because of his own ambition.
But, sir, he'll do something if Texans demand it. Do you believe Texan voters will?
80% of Republican voters, 80% want an age limit increase on assault weapons. It's what makes sense. You have to be 21 to buy a pistol, but you can be an 18-year-old to buy an AR-15. Everybody I talk to, Republican and Democrat, tell me that makes no sense. And clearly it's something that we could address. Red flags are something that we can't pass in Austin. But what we could do is we can pass our own Texas-sized ATF where we would have a 10-day waiting period, allow state agencies to interview people. Those are the things that make common gun sense. As I've told you before, Stephanie, I'm a gun owner. I get it. And I get what my constituents in West Texas want. At the end of the day, everybody I talk to wants to raise this age limit, Republicans and Democrats.
Some Texas officials have floated this idea of arming teachers, something the majority of teachers in Texas absolutely do not want. I want to share what Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, the point she made about this earlier today.
Only in America do we consider arming teachers while failing to pay them a livable wage.
What do you think about that?
Well, you stole the poll right out from under me. 77% of teachers do not want to carry weapons into classrooms. It's not what they signed up for. They didn't sign up to be cops. They signed up to teach our children. That's what they love to do. But not arming teachers, not one door, as some people in the Austin legislature would have us suggest, not having every cop have a ballistic shield. None of that is going to fix the bottom line problem, and that's we're putting militarized weapons in the hands of 18-year-olds. It is madness. And Greg Abbott refuses to do even what his colleague in Florida did, the right thing.
Well, Greg Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis, you mentioned earlier, asked them. I'd love to. Another day has passed. They have both been invited on this show. And like so many of their colleagues, they have declined our invitation. But they're invited here tomorrow. Senator, thank you for joining us this evening. I appreciate it.